Good morning, guys. Welcome back to New England Next Gen, where we talk about the big questions facing our generation here in Massachusetts and across New England. Today's episode is all about one thing. How do you figure out who to vote for? Whether you're in Boston, Fall River, or anywhere across New England, local elections are happening this November. And if you're a student, these choices hit closer to home than you might think. From your rent to your safety walking home at night, to the job you'll be applying for after graduation. So today, I want to give you a framework you can use to evaluate any candidate. Then we'll look at Boston and Fall River as examples, and we'll talk about something most people skip, which is the city council races, which often shape student life even more directly than the mayor does. So part 1, framework. How to decide who to vote for. Here are 7 questions that you can use when deciding who to support. Number 1, know the role. Understand what the office does. A mayor oversees city services, budgets, and big policy direction. A city council makes laws, approves spending, and checks the mayor. A school committee runs the schools. If you're a student, that means the mayor affects housing and transportation, while your counselor affects the neighborhood rules and how safe and affordable that your city feels. 2, we'll check their track record. Look at what they've done before. If they're in office now, did they deliver? If they're new, what's their background? For students, this could mean asking, did they actually fight to keep rent affordable for us? And did they improve safety near our campuses? 3, their priorities. Every candidate highlights certain issues. Some talk housing, others safety, others schools, or climate. For us, priorities might mean, does this candidate talk about affordable apartments, reliable public transit, and opportunities for young workers? 4, promises. Are their promises realistic, or are they just slogans? College students know. We've all seen campus leaders overpromise and underdeliver. The same happens in politics. Number 5, values and leadership style. Do they listen or do they push their own agenda? Do they bring young voices to the table? So their leadership shapes whether students are seen as part of the city or left out. 6, transparency and accountability. Do they explain their votes? Do they answer questions? Do they show up at town halls or student forums? And if they can't face questions, that's a problem. And 7, criticisms and opposition. Don't just listen to their ads. What do their critics say? What do watchdogs and opponents highlight? That often reveals their blind spots. So part 2 is applying the framework to Boston. In Boston, the mayor's race is unusual. Mayor Michelle Wu is basically running unopposed now since her main challenger, Josh Kraft, dropped out. For students, here's what that means. Wu has pushed hard on housing affordability programs, and these are programs to stop displacement and build new affordable housing. That connects directly to rent prices in student-heavy neighborhoods like Alston and Mission Hill. On transportation, she emphasizes bikes, green transit, and climate-friendly infrastructure. If you rely on the T or bike lanes, you'll notice her priorities. On public safety, she focuses on community strategies more than policing, which critics say is too soft. Students walking home at night may ask whether that approach keeps neighborhoods safe enough. I mean, walking around campus, I would want to know that I'm going to be safe going to the train, coming back from the train when I'm there, that we keep crime down. We don't want, mayhem ensuing on our campuses. So I don't agree with that exactly, having less policing. I think that we should have more policing, but that's just my opinion. And then on immigration and sanctuary city policies, she's clashed with federal law enforcement. For students from immigrant families, that could mean protection. For conservatives, it raises questions about law and order. And I want to say a little part in this, on my own personal position on this, is that I think the process for immigration needs to be fair for everyone. I can personally speak to saying that I have friends at work who have families in other countries that, for example, there's a young man who is about my age. He has a wife and a new baby that are overseas, and he's working on getting them to be the whole process to bring them here. So do I think that it's fair to him to have people just illegally coming in and cutting through that process? No, I don't think that's fair to him. I think that people don't see the bigger picture, that there are people that are already trying to do the right process, and people going through and trying to push saying we should have, like, just let the illegal immigrants be here. It's not going to work that way. The system can't hold itself. It has to have structure. I believe that people need to come in the right way. And, overall, there's a lot of issues that could compile into that, so I can't go into every single detail of that, but that's where I kind of stand. I mean, having too many illegal immigrants it really hurts our country's infrastructure in our economy. I mean, there's a lot of people who that need housing, like veterans that need housing, and those housing are being taken up by illegal immigrants. So I don't think that that's fair. I mean, these people that are veterans, they fought for our country. They put their all into being united with following through with protecting us. So why should somebody else who has never been here before, who didn't give their life or dedicate their life to our country, have more priority over them? That's just one instance, but that's exactly why I don't feel like I am, on that other side on that issue. So Boston students really face this question. How do you hold an unopposed incumbent accountable? The answer may be by paying close attention to the city council races, since they're the ones that check on the mayor's power. How do we apply that framework to Fall River? In Fall River, there's an actual contest. Incumbent Mayor Paul Coogan versus challenger Gabriel Boomer Amaral. Here's how it matters for students. Coogan points to job creation, business relocations, and infrastructure improvements. If you're a student looking for local internships or for a first job, that's directly relevant. He has been criticized about the deadly assisted living fire, where the fire department was understaffed. For students living off campus in older housing, that raises safety questions like, are basic services being funded? And Amaral positions himself as the change candidate. More accountability, more responsiveness. He says the city needs new energy. But as students, you have to ask, are his promises specific and realistic, or are they just calls for change without a plan? So in Fall River, the choices for students is between stability and tested leadership with Coogan, or a shakeup and possible reform with Amaral. And we can't forget the city council. So now let's talk about the races most people skip. In Boston, you'll vote for both district councilors, which are neighborhood reps, and at-large councilors, which are more like citywide reps. In Fall River, you'll also vote for city council members and the school committee. For students, these races are huge. Why? Because councils decide zoning rules and housing rules, which directly affect whether developers can build affordable student housing or luxury condos that push rents up. It also affects deciding on budget oversight, whether money goes to campus safety programs, public transit, or projects. They also go into neighborhood priorities, trash pickup, parking rules, nightlife regulations, the things students deal with daily. And independence from the mayor. Councils can either check the mayor's power or rubber stamp everything. So when you're picking a counselor, ask yourself, do they actually talk about issues in my neighborhood? Do they respond to students, or do they ignore us? Are they fiscally responsible, or are they promising everything without a plan? And do they explain their votes and decisions back to the community? City council, it might not sound glamorous, but if your rent goes up, your street doesn't get plowed this winter, or your T-stop gets cut, that's often a city council decision. So it's a big deal. I mean, it doesn't seem like it is, and you're like, oh, city council, I don't know if I really even have any interest in that. Well, you kind of need to, because, in Boston, Mayor Wu, she controls everything. So if you don't have a council to hold her accountable, then there's basically mayhem, because you're not going to have anyone holding her accountable for what she says she's going to do and what you might not want for your community. So this is why that's so important. And so I'm going to close. Here's the takeaway for students. Deciding who to vote for isn't about who's the flashiest or who has the flashiest ad. It's about asking, does this person make my city safer? Does this person make it more affordable and full of opportunity for us or not? Boston shows us what happens when a mayor runs unopposed, and it puts pressure on the city council to step up. In Fall River, it shows us what happens when voters get a choice between continuity and change. Either way, you can't skip the down ballot races, and don't skip them. As a student, the counselor you elect may shape your rent, your commute, your safety, and your job opportunities more than the mayor does. And let me add this, for those of you who come from a faith perspective, voting is more than politics. It's about stewardship. Micah 6:8 says, "What does the Lord require of you? To act justly, to love mercy, and to walk humbly with your God." That means our responsibility is not just to show up for ourselves, but to care about our neighbors, to stand for justice, and to help build a community where everyone can thrive. So here's my challenge to you. Don't just sit this election out. Look who's up on your ballot. Read where they stand, and make a plan to vote. As students, our voices matter more than we think. We are the next generation shaping New England, so let's prove it at the polls. And that's my episode 4. Thank you so much for joining me on this, journey of New England Next Gen. Feel free to send me a video of your response, how you feel about this. Feel free to ask me questions like, who should you vote for if you're a conservative Christian student? You might not be anywhere close to that, and you might just be, an independent student who wants, just to know who stands for what. And I don't know what areas that you all come from, but I can help you navigate all of that. If you need help, I'm navigating it myself. I couldn't tell you every single little detail about all the people that are running for city council. That's something I'm going to be working on. But if you are also one of those people that is running, feel free to send me a message if you want to have an interview. You can tell students what you stand for. I know it's getting kind of close to November, so we're kind of crunching time for that. But I'm, open ears to everything. This is where, students voice their opinion and where students come to hear the opinions. So feel free to respond to that. You can reach me at my email, which is newenglandnextgen2025@yahoo. You can also go to the website. That is newenglandnextgen.com. And then you can also go onto the YouTube channel and you can comment, like, subscribe if you want to continue watching my videos. But thank you so much for joining me today. And I hope you have a wonderful Sunday. And I'll join you tomorrow on Monday. Thank you guys. Have a good one.